All right, Mark, let's talk a little bit about this new boot. It may look similar to some of the uh, uh, viewers or people that will pick up this boot because it has a similar look and feel of the old Laponia. But I want to talk a little bit about this boot. This is the Shemek that we're introducing in July of 2023, and I want to understand a little bit more about the backstory of this boot and where the need for it came. So tell us a little bit about the Shemek.
Yeah, this is an interesting boot. This is actually a boot that I personally have been working on for now a little over 3 years. And it really came about from a phone call that I got about 3 years ago from one of our dealers in the Midwest.
Okay.
And that dealer basically came and said, "We love your boots. I wear the Nevada, I wear the Brickstall, I love them, but they feel like a mountain boot. They feel a little bulky. My feet aren't quite used to, or even our customers' feet aren't used to wearing a mountain boot. They feel a little hard. Can you guys develop a boot that's lighter, that has a little bit more flex, but still could be used across the board
Okay.
between flatlands to the mountains?" And so we made a couple of attempts at a boot. I personally didn't love it, and we sent it to the actual dealer himself and said, "Will you test this for us?" And that was 2 years ago.
Mm.
And he came back immediately and said, "This boot is perfect." And I made a few tweaks to it and worked with our R&D guys on lightening it
Mm.
and getting it exactly how we wanted it. And then we brought it out. And so we've been having this boot tested. I think right now we have 4 or 5 pairs that are out that have been tested significantly in all climates. And this has been it's been really positive feedback. So let me give you just a little bit of details. Is this is really built basically, if you look at this boot, very basically off of the upper of the Laponia,
Right.
so to speak. It has our VIBRAM Megagrip outsole.
Okay.
It has an EVA midsole. So this is the same midsole that we actually use in the Summit, the Thor, and in a few of our other boots. And so it's light. We wanted it to be light. In the lasting of this, we put a 2 flex in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has some flex in it. So it doesn't feel like a stiffer mountain boot.
Mm.
But for guys that are used to wearing boots like every day, this will wear so that it doesn't feel like you're wearing this stiff, bulky mountain boot. The upper is it's actually a wax Nubuck leather is what it is, and then we put 400 grams of Durtherm insulation in it. And so that is one of the things that we've done on this boot. We've lightened it. It only weighs 1.5 pounds, so it's super light, and so I guess really designed specifically for that Midwest hunter, guys that are out, on the farms, on the ranches, doing food plots, spending time, putting up tree stands. This is a boot, in the Midwest, it gets cold quick, from early October to the end of March, so to speak. This is the boot that we feel like guys will wear every single day. And so that is why we built this boot specifically, is we wanted a lightweight insulated boot that wasn't bulky, that had some flex in it. So this is why we developed. We even named it in off of a public lands area in Iowa called
Right.
the Shemek.
Yeah.
And so that's where actually the name came from.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. So this is probably the lightest weight 400-gram insulated boot on the market, I would suspect.
It's all leather,
It's all leather.
full leather, top to bottom.
Yeah. Full GORE-Tex booty. This is going to be a really interesting boot out in the Midwest and everywhere, right? The guys that were running it here are running it on pheasant farms, or they've taken it on some elk hunts, some deer hunts.
Tested in Alaska,
in Alaska.
early on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And out on Kodiak Island. But Lars, tell me a little bit about the fit and the feel of this boot. Who's it going to fit, and what should they expect when they put this boot on, and where some good applications would be for that boot. Mark talked a little bit about it, but why don't you give us a little bit more?
Yeah, so people who love the Laponia, it's going to have a very, very similar fit and feel to that Laponia. So it's going to be a very standard fit. We have extended that lacing down a little bit further. It's not a full asymmetrical lace, but it does go down a little bit further. So you do have a little bit more customization there. And then it's that same 2 on the flex rating. It's going to be extremely soft. And we have found is people in the Midwest love it because it's going to be a little bit softer and it's not going to be as hard underneath your feet. But what we've also have found is that Laponia boot, that same 2 flex, people love it in the West just because of how light it is. And so for those people that really love the Laponia, but then come October, November here in the Western states, it's freezing cold, they need to go up to that insulated boot, go to that 400, but still maintain that 2 flex. So it's still really soft, but extremely warm.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
It's amazing to have a full leather boot at 1.5 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that wears like this. This is really for guys that wear boots every single day, especially from late fall till early in the spring. This is going to be an everyday wear on that.
Yeah, it's a very good looking boot, and you can see guys that would wear this in Wyoming and Montana every day into the office, right? You could. It's a nice
Dakotas.
Dakotas, yeah, for sure, for sure.
And anyone who's worn this boot in general just absolutely loves it because it's so comfortable. Still keep your feet warm. I'm sure that some people will even be wearing it in a little bit of early season just because of how comfortable and lightweight it is.
Oh, that's outstanding. All right, well, if you're looking for a great full leather GORE-Tex boot that is soft on the flex and it has insulation, 400 gram Duratherm insulation, this is going to be an outstanding boot come fall and winter of 2023. This is the Shemek.